stuff. Ukraine war update for the 24th of December. Now, this isn't about free speech, okay? Free speech is not an absolute right. You have the right to say it. We have the right to reject it. We have the right to mock you, ridicule you. We have our own rights too. But of course, we have the right to expose people for who they are. You let them speak, but we expose them. And then these people ultimately want to take away your rights. They reach into your pocket. They subvert society with slogans. Ultimately, it is up to each and every one of us what to do individually. But I am telling you, and this is beyond the pale, right, that a Ukrainian agent can operate so freely in the West without consequence, right? These are freaking cowards. This isn't free speech. This is not protected speech. This is slander. Okay? The Constitution of America. And he's not American, so he hasn't got the right to free speech at all, by the way. Now, this brick to the head smears Charlie Kirk, a dead man who can't defend himself. As a mediocre white man. So you know, right? This is a cunt who pushes cunt philosophy, okay? The cunt philosophy that white men that there is no crime to kick white men out of college so they can put in women and minorities. So white men have to give up their jobs, give up college in their homeland so that others can thrive. You don't get a second chance, okay? There's no, and this is the problem, okay? They get the piss on you. They get the piss on your head. They get everything handed to them. And they piss on you. These are cowards. Tiny little men. Okay? Cowards in a bunker. Yeah. A retarded foreigner. A little bitch. But he's not just an average retard. He's a Ukrainian agent. A fake social media account raising money for Ukraine. For Ukrainians claiming they're protecting Europe. Okay? It's not a once-off post. This cunt floods social media with his bullshit. So, fuck Ukraine. And fuck everyone who loves Ukraine. You're a gutless cunt. A greedy, gutless cunt. And he's not the only one. And they are foreigners. So, why should Americans give a fuck about Britain? Fuck them! Bunch of snobs Russophobes, warmongers, each and every one of them. Accused, by the way, and of course they use CGI altered photographs. Yeah, every day. These people are sick. They're delusional. They're sick. They're greedy. Okay? This greedy fuck, right, wants you to defend his country while he pisses on your head and calls it rain. I'm sick of him. I'm sick of this cunt. Come on, Putin. Blow him out of the water. Oh, that's right. I forgot. He's so incompetent, right? He's leading Ukraine into the ground. He's destroying Ukraine. So Russia's not going to kill him. Why would they kill their best asset in Ukraine? Incompetence. It's like why they didn't kill Hitler. If you kill Hitler, you get somebody competent. Kiev wants to halt the hiding at the current lines and have Russia to withdraw its troops. And then Ukraine will control about a quarter of a region. Of course, with Kremlin unlikely to, they call it its maximalist demands, and transform disputed areas into a free economic zone. Oh my God, this is a referendum. This is... Nobody's asking the people of Donbass, but Donbass, right, wanted freedom from Ukraine. They only voted to go with Russia because Ukraine wouldn't hold the vote they fought for. Okay? Donbass was betrayed. Okay? The lawful, legal president of Ukraine was ousted 6 months into his term. The cunts and cowards who took over got backed by Europe. That doesn't make it legal. None of the coups around the world are legal. But time and time again, it's the good old saying by LBJ, I know he's a dictator, but he's our dictator. And there it goes. Withdraw from Russian troops. Give us money. And then say, we need a monitoring system for the front line. Look back to the Minsk agreements. Ukraine violated the Minsk agreements, so Europe walked away. That's why nobody's defended Ukraine. But Russia didn't invade Ukraine because the West didn't do anything. So they said, right, we'll arm Donbass, but we won't go into so that the war won't escalate. But Europe started escalating the war. Started sending arms. Started sabotaging Russian rail lines, Russian communications. Assassinating Russians. Firing drones, trying to steal Russian air defenses. Blowing up a Dutch airline and then blaming it on Russia to provoke a wider war. Shelling the Zaporozhye nuclear plant to provoke a wider war, trying to sink Russian warships, even though Russia was not directly involved in the war. I said directly. I did not say they weren't involved. I said they weren't directly involved until Zelensky came to office and lied to the people of Ukraine, saying he was going to settle the matter and honour the Minsk Accords. He didn't. But he still wants EU membership, reconstruction funds, and claims he's got American support. What? A bunch of brickheads on X? bunch of troll posts. What? 91,000 people get to decide America's future to have Ukraine put their pocket reconstruction funds, funding for an 800,000 man army. Ukraine can't afford it. They're broke, bankrupt. Their GDP is less than the cost of their army. Okay? An 800,000 army, which is actually bigger than their army is now. Don't forget, Russia's whittled their army down to 670,000, with another 100,000 outside being currently trained. And they're currently falling short of their recruitment, right? This month's recruitment's down to 28,000. They're losing the war. Okay? These National Front bitches are not pro-British. The mask is off. The British National Front, right, are HMAS bastards. Now, out there now, fundraising for Ukraine. So, fuck them. They fucked around and found out. But that's what happens, okay? The British National Front was a false flag created by the British establishment to yet again screw over the British people. And every day these cunts are pissing on Charlie Kirk. But they don't get taken down for hate speech or harassment. Yet you post something negative about Ukraine, watch what happens to you. The only way you are going to get the message across to fucking Ukraine is to make me and other people like me viral. Go viral. Fuck Ukraine. Every day. Just fuck them over. Because they are cunts. They won't listen to you. They're like a woman. Okay? They won't listen to you. They put their hand in the pocket and say, oh, honey, give me another one, will you? Oh, please, honey, I won't cheat on you again. Give me just a little bit more money, please, honey. I just need, it's for my makeup. I need more for my makeup. See, Russia, even as they talk through the side of their mouth about peace and draft proposals about being a European Union member, NATO, reconstruction, economic investment, there's no way, right, they're going to be pay any of it. It's the good old Ukrainian grift. I'll promise you Tuesday for a hamburger today. Okay? He's just another see you next Tuesday, and you know he won't show up, he won't pay his bills, he's another fucking Eastern European grifter. You almost, I'm sick of most of Eastern Europe, okay? All they want is war with Russia. Fuck them. Let them have it. Don't fight for them. Don't protect them. Let them have it. Turn around and say, if you start a war, we won't defend you. Go ahead. Go at it. Let them suffer the consequences of their actions, please. Stop bailing out idiots and assholes. No, territorial concerns are a thorny issue, and they refuse to give up territory. Russia's not asking. Russia's telling. Just like when America went into Iraq. They didn't ask. Right? We asked at Saddam. We didn't ask. Iraq doesn't exist anymore. Okay, it's now it's an American base surrounded by Iraqis and Iranians. That's it. They fucked themselves with there's still constant conflict in Iraq. Every so often the Turks go in and kill Kurds. Nobody talks about Turkey violating the territorial integrity of Iraq or Syria. Oh, Israel does something. Oh, boo-hoo, Israel. Syria, Lebanon, You know, all of them. You know, Syria, they fucked Lebanon beyond belief, okay? And then what happens? Billy Bubba comes in and pisses all over them, promises them the world, and delivers nothing. Or put in troops. Yeah, never left their barracks and never hardly fired a shot. So this is time and time again. Okay? Now, Pope Leo called for a truce on Christmas and expressed sadness over the rejection. Excuse me? Okay? Ukraine just murdered a couple of policemen in Moscow and then happily proclaimed it was them, screaming, sloppy Ukrainia, we're bringing the terror to you. You know, you go this route of terrorism, it will not end well. I call it the Orsk offensive. It will not take a military genius more than 5 minutes of studying Russia's arsenal to realize, and this is Western analysis of Russian arsenal, not Russia's projections, not Russia's next year's missile production. I'm talking about firing a rocket with about a ton of rocket fuel into the center of a town and annihilating 2 square miles. It may not sound much, but imagine what would happen to your town if the center was annihilated. Or the industrial center of your town. It's enough to destroy. Right? 30 or 40 of these missiles is enough to destroy Ukraine's economy. Probably 50 at best. Alright? You know, blow up a few random places as well. And Ukraine is fucked forever. I mean, Stone Age. I mean, nobody will have the money to rebuild Ukraine for the next 100 years. And nobody's going to care. Ukraine will never get out of its own shadow. Its people need to be denazified, to be set down and pretty much lectured. You cannot solve government corruption while you yourselves are a bunch of thieves. Ukraine has put its hand and into everybody's pocket and fought wars and revolutions to kill and oppress each other since the 1800s. People with that sort of mentality need to be left alone to kill themselves off because they cannot be saved. They don't want to be saved. They want to be funded. And this is the dirty part that people don't want to know. It's like when the Mayflower arrived. Indians saw the guns and says, hey, you know, I'll fight your enemies if you give me some. No, these are for hunting. Oh, for hunting. Well, take my daughter off from me guns. Okay? People don't want to talk about the truth. This is not you. Okay? The British successfully took over most of the world by coming in, establishing a port, relations with the king, offering his army guns to become part of the British Empire. But the British always made sure the port was complete, the fortress was complete, and never gave away fucking cannons because they weren't fucking idiots. They expected to get betrayed. And they always put an army in that fort. But as the empire got big, they weren't betrayed because more and more they needed Indians. India was not only a willing participant in the British Empire, they helped grow the British Empire. Long before India fully became the jewel in the crown of Queen Victoria, thousands of Indians every day were getting on British ships to go to Africa to fight. Okay, that's why there were so many Indians in Africa. Nobody wants to say the quiet out loud. It was the British Indian Empire, the British Indian Trading Company, who fueled the empire. and Victoria formalised India as a partner in that empire. And after 150 years, that empire was betrayed, dismantled and destroyed, and now India's trying to take it over. Wake up and smell the world for not what you think it is. Okay, the world is not a nice place. It is not paradise. It is not the land of milk and honey. And it ain't fucking utopia. Okay, Dorothy, you're not in fucking Kansas. Okay, the world is a cruel place where a grizzly bear doesn't care that you're a 6-year-old child. In fact, most of the time, though, it will leave you alone because you are a 6-year-old child. And also, bears and other animals are starting to wake up that humans can and will kill them indiscriminately. There are actually now areas of the world where wild animals come up and cozy up to humans because they realise it's the only way to survive. We're the most evil motherfuckers on the planet. We're the most wild beasts who could prey on us at will have meekly surrendered to become even the wildest of wilds. Panthers are becoming house pets of Amazonian tribes to survive. That means it's not just white man, people. We're the most evil motherfuckers on this planet. And you know, maybe the Christian view of hell is right, and we're in it. But by God, there are some good people out there still. And I think that is it. We're still in purgatory. Hell has yet to come to earth, but its tendrils are firmly gripping us by the undercarriage. But hey, there are still some good people out there. Hungary's prepared to help end this war, but they've said the quiet part out loud, and I haven't been quiet about it. The fucking European assholes saying to Trump, oh yes, we agree with you, there should be peace in Ukraine. And then they go back and say, how do we fuck Russia so we can have our peace in Ukraine? See, every dictatorship needs an enemy. Today it's Russia, Russia, Russia. Just like back in the Cold War when piss-weak Truman, shit in his boots, goes, oh no, we made a huge mistake. We armed Stalin. He sent 10,000 tanks rolling across Europe. And then nothing happened. So he said to Patton, well, you were wrong. And Patton said, no, it's because our tanks are here. And they realized, he just couldn't let it go, could he? Truman, you know what a petty man he was. You know he replaced the driver and had the deep state kill him because Patton was found out about the dirty little secret about the Nazis. You brought him off. You started shipping them out already and by 1944 even Hitler noticed there was something wrong. He kept waiting. Where's my bomb? He was developing the nuclear bomb. He already had film footage, right? You've been so lied to, so propagandized. There's little glimmers of truth out there. Nazi nuclear bomb. Look it up. I haven't got time to educate you on each and everything. We have the world at our fingertips, but the vast majority of people stay ignorant. Why? Because when cunts like this come along, they just say, oh, it's free speech. No, it's not. Slander is not protected. Bullying is not protected. A protest is you have the right to protest, but you don't have the right to throw a brick through a window. The moment a protest turns violent, the police should have the right to beat the living shit out of each and every snot-nosed brat because they've just surrendered their rights. Okay? And if you think Ukrainian terrorism is funny, then wait until it comes for you. When you don't give them more money, they'll start terrorizing you. Once you let a terrorist get away with it, they're in your pocket for life. Okay? Obama created ISIS. Look what happened when he stopped paying them. You created the Taliban to fight the Soviets. Look what happened. They didn't go home after the war. They just wanted more. Once you start funding terrorism, that's it. It will bite you. It always happens. Okay? Now, Hungary is prepared to help end this war, and yet they get shit on time and time again. Now, the President of the United States has shot back at the New York Times and their bullshit. Okay? Peasant puppet! You fucking little shill demons. Actually, correct me if I'm wrong, right? But I think demons have more fucking honor than a fucking journalist these days. Okay? Marxists are the worst, right up there with Zelensky and his little cartel of cunts and sycophants and bullies. Now, Western media outlets are trying to work in sync with Ukraine and British intelligence to fuck Donald Trump. Where are you, America? Wake up! If you make millions, if I get millions of views, you know that helps destroy the mainstream media. But no, so many people won't just say, fuck Ukraine. So all the Ukraine glazers sit there making all the Ukrainian, pro-Ukrainian channels popular. So what happens? The narrative goes pro-Ukrainian. All the trends, all the media. You cannot affect society unless you're willing to give up a little bit of your own fucking time and effort and destroy the credibility and lies of the mainstream media. Expose them for what they are. Cunts. They cannot understand normal thinking whatsoever. But Russia don't care what you and I say. Okay? Russians are never going to make me popular. They're never going to fund me. Okay? They don't care about the West. Okay? As far as they're concerned, the West is the enemy now. You've declared yourself the enemy. Until Donald Trump signs another peace treaty, Russia's going to isolate itself. You're going to see Russia put more political pressure on America through Venezuela. And all because people sit down and go, nah, I don't want to do something. Someone else do something. Now, we don't know Putin's endgame. Now, his endgame, if we look at the... You know what I've done, don't you? Yeah, I've gone and accidentally closed the map. Putin's endgame. Two ways this can go. See these dots on the map? His favourite hiding points? 30 missiles in 30 days. Probably... No, 30 missiles in 30 days each. So it's 30 missiles per town, dropping about a ton of rocket fuel, plus the 500 kilograms of modified plastic explosive. I think it's called RDX, the Russian equivalent of C4. It's not as strong, but it's, traveling at Mark 7 on a vertical descent. It'll set off a half a million kilogram explosive just on impact. Right? Force equals mass times acceleration. You imagine 1 ton of rocket fuel falling on a town, right? And as it ignites, it is physically hitting the ground, thus pretty much fracturing the area into a huge impact crater. So it triple damages. You have the initial impact, you have the initial explosion, and then you have all the secondary explosions. Plus, you don't target in large towns, you target the financial district and government district, and blow away courts, government administration centres, your banking, your post office. Most of Ukraine in a 2-mile area. right? And the other missiles, they hit the industrial zone, they hit bridges. Russia could fuck Ukraine so hard. You have no idea, because most of you have never studied World War II and looked at the footage. And you think, right? You think, oh, these petty little pea shooters they use, 153s. You haven't seen a 270 in action. You haven't seen what 9,000 artillery looks like. They decimated the Third Army. So much, right? The survivors retreated all the way back. So what they said in 12 million, only a few million returned. Over 2 million captured just in Stalingrad alone. And while convalescing, of course, in northwest, across Denmark and that, Steiner and the others who were put in charge of taking care of them and protecting the northwest from American attack, Operation Market Garden happened. He realised the speed of the American advance, everything. He rounded up his men, destroyed the bridges, said the Allies did it, and then waited for the end. And then, you had Hitler doing his famous Steiner speech. Where is he? Where is he? He weren't coming. Okay, he surrendered a year ago to the Allies. He helped Operation Paperclip. German general did more to end World War II than any fucking Antifa. And I can say this with a fact, because my grandmother lived through World War II, and when the Nazis came to the Netherlands, all the Antifa ripped off their little red armbands and put on their little Nazi armbands. Most of them only had to flip theirs over to reveal that they had a Nazi, Antifa, they're little creeps. You cannot trust a creep. Cannot trust feminists. Okay? Any extremists. You can't trust Ukraine. I learnt from history. You cannot trust extremists. People willing to do anything for power will do anything. They will turn against you. That's why America's relationship with Europe is so rotten. Because they'll do anything for power and expect you to bail them out unconditionally. And Canada, like good little simps, always runs along saying, yes, massa, I'll save you, massa. And they run themselves into the ground. Killed millions of their own people. You didn't need to send millions of troops into Germany. You didn't need to arm the Soviets. Should have let the Soviets lose. They should have had them come in and pretty much collapsed Germany with your massive air power. Okay? Just like you defeated Japan with your massive ships. Okay? Germany went from having an advantage of 415 ships to being outnumbered 4 to 1. Japan 2 to 1. And then once Coral Sea and Midway were over, and then I think Iwo they're down to 6 ships, not 6 to 1, 6 ships, and America had 1,000 landing craft ready to go. Though that was a failure, so yeah, they finally went with the nuclear option. But in 44, you had the nuclear bomb. You could have ended the war. So don't tell me about morals, because Democrats don't have any. Liberals don't have any. They go with whatever gives them the most power. You cannot trust people like that. You cannot fund Ukraine. You have to make it known to President Trump. If you don't, you lose. Okay? You cannot sit there at home and think that Trump magically knows what you want. The only way to make your voices heard is through the willing people who echoes your sentiments. And if they don't, so be it. But at least I tried. Unlike so many who sit at home and yell fuck Ukraine at the screen and then wonder why you get fucked at the election, fucked in the midterms. Because you sit at home and yell at the TV screen, then put on the foosball. Bread and circus, my friends. Look it up. The idiots always destroy civilization because they're willing to do nothing to save it. Thank you all for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe. Please support the channel. You can support me on Ko-Fi, Patreon, buy my books, buy merch. All my links are in the link tree, description below, or in my profile. I appreciate each and every one of you. You good, warm, loving, sane people in this cruel and corrupt world. It is a rarity. It is an honor and a privilege. And I hope to see you all in the next video. Bye for now.